play music, I run, and this is what gives me energy to move on day by day. And that's it. Let's start. I won't do any introductions about what you will see, so we'll see how this goes.
Happy birthday to PHP. Woo!
Is it today?
Today, 31 years. Yes.
Okay. Real quick, I have already created a new fresh project, nothing fancy, it's already there. Let me also open Chrome and let's visit. I have already created one repository here for this presentation, Athens Laravel meetup. So the idea for today is how we can utilize work trees, and I will give some. Is it better?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So the idea for today is how we can utilize Git work trees and how we can use them in different tools. I will give you like an idea of how you can use it simply with PHP Storm, then we can switch to Polyscope and then see a lot Claude Desktop maybe at the end. So let's start. I guess you already know this. So the idea is how we can utilize Git workers and why. So let's start. Let me open this. And for example, let's begin our day. We already have a pull request, simple pull request that we need to review. So this is one thing that we need to do. And the other thing to do is like create a new exciting feature for today, or maybe solve a hotfix bug during the day, but we'll see. So from within PHP Storm, if it opens, in the newest version, they have a dedicated place for work trees. So work trees give us the opportunity to have locally different branches that we can operate on top of them at the same time without committing changes, branch out, check out, and stuff like that. It's easy from within the PHP Storm. So from here, you can easily go and create a new work tree. And let's say that this is for a PR review. Nice. We start very good. Let me try again. All right, and here we can operate with Claude with manually or whatever we need in order to do our work. So a quick presentation here, can open Claude. Δεν ξέρω πώς να το κάνω. But before I do that, let's see what's happened here. Inside work trees, we can see that we have two different work trees at the same time. And let's see how this translates into the browser as well. I'm using Herd locally. So here we have, this is the main work tree. And here, this is the newly created work tree. I will open it, it's with an error, and let's discuss a little bit about this. When you are creating new work trees, not everything is moved around, so you have to manually configure it or create something that can move the necessary files in order for this to work. So let's do this manually. This is part of the presentation. So here we need the env file to start. So if we go here, let's grab this and let's move this here. Let's open a terminal. Let's try this. Pull the dependencies. Migrate maybe. Let's go back. And we're good to go. And let's see now. If I go back, the idea is that I can work in both. So here is what I would like this to do. And at the same time, while this is thinking or working, I can go back to the other work tree. And do something else. For example, I can do a manual work here. It's welcome. Yes. All right. So once again, this is one setup. And this is the other one. You can quickly switch from these two, back and forth. Let me see if this is done. Let me allow this. I think it's done. Any questions so far? I can have them now. So like I said before, we have two different branches at the same time, two different URLs on head. I can do everything I want on this. That doesn't affect the other one. I can review another PR. I can create a bug fix without having the need to stash, commit, change everything I need. And this comes to the next idea, that I can leverage this in order to not wait for Claude to think. I can have it in one work tree and do planning or execution or implementation, and on the other branch I can work on something else while I can wait, instead of waiting for the other to finish up. So once this is done, we can push this. And this is done.
How many you can create workshops?
You can create as many as you can handle. This is the idea. So this is another problem that we are facing currently. When GitHub work trees were introduced like many years ago, I think they are in place like more than 10 years now. The idea was like to niche down in a specific thing that you are doing, but now it's the only reasonable thing that you can do in order to move forward. So you can spin up any work trees you need. So this is simply working, no command line for now. You can do this via command line, by git commands and etc. But this is the simplest way I can think. PHP Storm is fully integrated with work trees now. They have a dedicated window like we saw before here. You can have it here, so you can quickly switch around between work trees, create new work trees. In order to create a new work tree, it's already there for you. You can go here on the main branch, you can click here, and now they have the new work tree for main. You can create work trees from any base branch you would like. It's not only the main branch. You might be working in a PR train situation, so you might want to create a new branch from an existing branch. So you can add it here, you can create a new branch, and everything is on the go. So any questions regarding Git worktrees and PHP Storm?
Can it have,
Yeah, go on.
can it have multiple like environment in this, like floating this?
Yes, this is the idea. Every work tree has its own env. Let me show you real quick. So this is the main work tree. Let's name this main. Does it make sense? All right. So hopefully if I refresh here, this is main. I know it's small, I'm sorry, but it's here, it's main.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And if I go back, go to the other, let me close this up.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
This is the work tree. Let me save it. Refresh the other. Yeah, I stopped the builder, but the env is there. This is the initial step that I did. I had to copy the env from my main file into the Git work tree, run all the dependencies, composer install, front-end npm install, and stuff like that in order to spin it up and view it in the browser. But you can automate this. You can create a bash command that whenever you create a Git work tree, everything is copied around, and you can quickly reduce these tedious manual steps.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask as well. It has different files. Every work tree has different files, different project files. Everything is different.
I will say yes, but some tools do this differently. Some use the copy on file methodology. Some of them just copy the entire project and vice versa. But the idea is that you have two different branches at the same time. Anything else? Yes, please.
Similar how you handle larger applications with a lot of assets or a large database. Because if I get it right, everything in the file system is duplicate, right?
Not always. Git worktrees don't work this way. I work in large projects as well, so creating a worktree is like a matter of seconds.
Yeah, if you have a
Large code base.
like a local database.
Yes. Regarding database, it's up to you. You can have a different database in your env file if you want to test different migrations, for example, or have a different schema, or creating a feature that has migrations to run, and you don't want to run this in your main local database, but you want to create like a work tree database. You can do that. Large applications should have a way to quickly fresh the database from start. You have zero, migrate fresh with some data inside, so you can start playing around, hopefully. So yeah, it needs a little bit of organization, platform team involving there in order to set this up for larger projects with isolated work trees, database, in order for this to work. In my day-to-day, I don't use it too much for database, to be honest. I use just the main database. I go back and forth. We have a quick script to delete everything, create it from scratch. So it's part of the bash command that we are running. Installs on the dependencies, front-end, back-end, runs the database seeder, and it's part of the work tree spin-up, if that makes sense. You can wait 1 minute, 1.5, I don't know, it depends on the scale.
Thank you.
Please.
I guess you can run sub-agents at each work tree, right?
You can do whatever you want. This is the idea. You can have different Claude instances into each work tree. So it's like a fresh, new context window for you. If you want to spin up sub-agents in each work tree, then buy a good machine and you're good to go. Should I go on? We're going to see the same things, but with a different tool. In the beginning, I used Polyscope, and this was the idea when I signed up for this, so I will preview this. This is from Beyond Code. So this is a different application that does the same thing. The idea in modern editors, I didn't ask that question, I don't know why. How many of you do you use Cursor? Okay, not so much. So the idea is to drop the classic editors so far, no hand coding, just use your AI agent in order to move forward. So here you need to let's add this project. It uses the local setup in order to spin up herd, which has some advantages here. So here it is. I didn't want this, I wanted this. So it gives you some tools that I find very useful. So if you use GitHub for your day-to-day issue tracking and stuff like that, you can click this. It's already linked with my GitHub account and linked with that specific project. I have already 2 issues in my GitHub repository for this, so I can quickly manage everything. It's on top of the code. I can have the description and everything I want prepared, or someone else in the team, product manager, team engineer, stuff like that. So I can quickly build this up. It pre-populates me a small prompt to begin with, and I can choose if I want to plan or execute, depend on your, let's plan. And at the same time, I will spin another work tree to do the same thing. Let's do blue now. I know it's small, I'm sorry for that. Let's do this as well, and I think yeah, it does this for you as well. Since it's connected to your GitHub, it can see your open pull requests, so you can start from there.
Can try command plus.
I'm doing command plus, but
it's not.
no. Let me just quickly, if it's easy here, maybe.
Yeah, the behavior. Over there. Yeah, that's fine.
Bit more.
Yes.
I can go. Is it good now?
I have all people here.
As many as you have work trees.
So let's see how this works. It's already pulled in the GitHub issue. The idea is that we have a bug. I don't know if anyone noticed. Let's see that super bug. Yep, that's it. Can you see it? Okay. It's good. So I had an issue to resolve this bug. So I have a specific work tree that it can start working on that. I approve the plan here. Let's switch out to another work tree. It says it's changed. So let's see this in action. So here in Polyscope, it has a built-in browser. Hopefully this works. All right. Let me do this. So Polyscope has a built-in browser. So you can see that the bug is now fixed. It says deploy now. And one good thing that we can do here is that they have this target. So I can directly interact inside here. And let's say I can target each element that it's populated here directly in my window. So I can target, for example, this button again. It's already there. while this is working, I can switch to another work tree. So this is a better tool for me because I don't have to go back and forth to the browser at all. I can stay here if the settings are properly adjusted. So no need to go to the browser as well. Most of the things that I need, I can do them directly from this tool. So what was this about? This is another thing. You can rename your work trees because I don't remember why I opened this work tree. This is a PR review. Let's rename it. Okay, and here you can see an overview of what this is. Do you get the idea? Here is my blue background, and here is it fixed? Let me check. Refresh, and we're good to go. Just for a proof of concept, if I open the terminal here, you can see that it creates like a work tree and it gives it like a random name. And if I open herd, hopefully I can see that. It's lick pigeon or whatever. Let's see where we are. It's under my account .polyscope/clones. So if I open herd and import that directory here, it's here. We can see polyscope, clones. This is all the work trees that I just created and some existing ones. So if I go back, hopefully now this works. Let's see. No, it's not. I'm sorry. It was S. Yep. So let's move on. This is another one. No, I'm sorry. There you go. Any questions?
Have you tried any other tools besides Polyscope?
I tried Claude Desktop, and to be honest, when I submitted this talk, I was using Polyscope day by day. I was super happy, and then I reinstalled Claude Desktop and never changed back. So this is my last one. Yes?
Can we use Polyscope with a custom LLM provider, or it's subscription based?
I think you can use it with any AI agent because it's using behind the scenes the command line or whatever subscription you have. So you first have to log in. I skipped all of this. It's prepared. Polyscope it was already linked to a Cloud instance that I have a subscription for. So yeah, you can.
And also one more question. Do you know if it's when you have a Dockerized environment, local environment, and you are not working with here, is it so easy to
I cannot answer. I'm using Herd, so I have colleagues that they use a Dockerized environment, for example, in our in Nord Health. Git work trees, they don't go well inside the container. At least in the container we have, they struggle a little bit. So this is like a local setup environment. It seems to go smoothly. So if we have everything installed, this is better. Also, Polyscope, if anyone has noticed, I didn't have to copy paste in the variables, composer, dependencies, and stuff like that. The only thing I need to boot up is the npm run dev just to build any assets and see any UI elements as well. Any other questions? Yes?
So what happens in the end? Do you need to merge them at some point?
Let's see. I don't know. Should we keep that blue or no?
I don't know what the client request was, but
It's okay. The client is always right. So let's stick with that blue. From Polyscope, let me close this, assuming we are done. It was that. I think it was, I don't remember. I think it was ready, but I can't find it now. It's somewhere here that it has also a button. It's stop. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. Maybe here.
Yeah, instead of merge,
Yeah.
keep there.
It's here. So yeah, you have it here. Let's create a pull request for both of them and see what happens. So yeah, the idea is that it's when you create the pull request, no work tree is there, simple process, new branch, review, and the process is like known from there. Does this cover your question?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, please.
The work trees, does it work copying all the Git repository to a new file, to a new folder?
Polyscope is advertising this a lot. It doesn't copy the entire directory. It just copies only what you changed from the branch you created the work tree. So only the changed files, they are copied in the new directory.
So it has some neural.
I don't want to know. So I don't want to know some things. Better blur for me. Any other questions? No? Okay. Same example. We can leave that open. Let's check a little bit how we are going here. Some pull requests already landing from Polyscope. No naming, no nothing. I didn't do nothing. I don't know if this excites anyone else. I'm just I'm just messing around here. So the last tool, just want to check because I didn't. How much time do we have, Haris?
You can keep going. Not a lot, but
Okay, just we'll do that quicker. Let's delete everything here. So same idea, different tool, Claude Desktop. From here, you can choose your, if you work on multiple projects, the same as Polyscope. I will use Athens Laravel Meetup. The idea is exactly the same. Here you have the option to create or not create a work tree. If you want to work on your main directory, you can still do that. In Polyscope, you can still do that. Let's create a new work tree, the same. Give me a color. Green again, no, other color. Dark green. I like it. I guess there is no need to demonstrate Git works again. I can start a new session, I can create a new work tree, etc. But I'm mainly focused on give you how the idea of how Claude does the same thing as Polyscope. So here they have a window, and these have these options. They have also preview, so you can still preview your application inside Claude Desktop without leaving the application and go to Chrome and back and forth and back and forth. You can still have a dedicated terminal on your work tree. You saw that in Polyscope again, which is very handy. You don't have to CD anywhere. It's already targeting your work tree. You can see all the TIFF files that are changing. You can see the plan that it will create. Here, I didn't demonstrate that on Polyscope, but here's your project. You can still search and find your project. So I can go, hopefully, yeah. I can still open that here. Let me close that up. This is the file. I know it's not PHP Storm, VS Code, or whatever editor you are happy with, but you can still edit things here, save quickly if you want to do some manual things on your code without your AI agent and still be good. And to be honest, let me create one more and let's plan this. I want the red background. This is a nice feature that I love. Let me plan this. I think this is ready. No? But this is the idea. How many of you go back and forth and see if Claude is finished and continue working? Let's wait a little bit. I just want to demonstrate one last thing that I enjoy on planning, and I'm done. It takes a while. I can have some questions before we close up, so we don't have a Q&A afterwards. Yes?
Are you more stressed now that you can work with many work trees, or are you less stressed compared to 2 years ago? Because it's you have to evaluate many things in parallel. So
This is a good question.
this is addictive, but it's also you can learn.
I am, to the core of my bone, not a multitasker fan. So I need to focus on a single task and nail it. I leverage work trees daily to minimize a little bit the waiting of things. So, and not switching context, which is still wait, because you have to do manual things. Let's task this, let's do this, let's rebuild this, let's run migrations, let's whatever do what this means. And yeah. So the plan is ready. So this is the plan that Claude created, and you can interact directly with this document, which I feel this is amazing. So if this is not the color that I like here, you can double click and let's go with this. You just press it. It does not run, but it gathers all your comments first. So let's change that one as well. Let's go with DC, DC, DC. So now I have 2 comments. So you document the entire plan, and when you have your comments for your plan, you can let it work a little bit again. So this is a cool feature for me. I always plan before let Claude execute. So this is a quick review before we start, because if you do more coding, you will have more changes in more files, and some of them might not match your, I don't know, styling or your structure or your whatever. It gives you comments right away. You can answer them, you can move on and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess you get the idea. I will switch back here. Any more questions? Haris?
So you're now using Claude LLM, right, with Polyscope. Is it the model you use, Claude, or you use?
I use Claude. I think I'm retired from Polyscope, so I use Claude Desktop as as an environment. And
So you don't use Claude Code, only Claude Desktop?
yes, I started with Claude Code, experimenting on PHP Storm, open new windows for each work tree, have the terminal follow my lead, but then switching back which Git work tree is now open. It's a little bit messy in PHP Storm yet, so I left the terminal. Then I used another tool, I don't know how it's pronounced, Smix, that you can have like terminals, but they have also, yeah, I don't know, Cmax, yeah. So this was better because the focus was there and you were switching windows, still using Claude terminal there, but then everything in Claude Desktop, it feels like more natural, more in the place, no more switching around, just one window, focus there. I'm guessing they will improve as well, so yeah.
Does Claude Code use Git work trees?
Yes?
Oh, and like you define the base branch always takes from main or master or whatever your name is.
Yes, let me real quick go back. So here, when you create a new session, you have these options here.
Oh, I see.
So here, you can create from which branch to begin. And here you can, with a simple checkbox, if you want to create a new work tree or if you don't.
And if you want to enter like the env for that session, how do you do that?
If when the work tree is created,
Yeah.
so here, for example, like a work tree was created, so you can close the plan, you can open the files, you can find your env and start code.
Shouldn't there be one?
I think Claude, like Polyscope as well, is not copying, so you have to copy if you want to override, like we did. It depends on your setup. Like I said, the idea here was just to scratch the surface, give the idea of what tools did I use so far, PHP Storm, Polyscope, Claude. I'm still trying to figure this out. Any other questions? Okay, so before I leave you, a big applause, please, everyone, to Mr. Yorgos and Haris.
And another one for you. Another one for Petros. Okay, we're live. Now, the second speaker, I don't think he needs too much introduction. You maybe heard of a Nuno Maduro guy. That's the guy here. He created almost... So I'm gonna give it to him, and he can say what he created and everything else.
You are too awesome. Thank you so much for that applause. Super happy to be here in Greece. Do we have an audience, PHP Laravel audience? Everyone uses PHP here? Raise your hand. Who uses PHP? Pretty much everyone. How about Laravel? Everyone as well? Okay, that's awesome. Okay, so you might be using some of the stuff I build pretty much every single day, which is awesome. For those who don't know me, my name is Nuno. Here we go. My name is Nuno Maduro. I'm this dude right here. And I'm a staff engineer at Laravel. I have created multiple open source tools like Pest PHP, Pint, now POW, and a few others. I'm also trying to become a YouTuber a little bit. So I love content, especially I love to create PHP and Laravel content. Okay, that's what I do pretty much on my free time. However, indeed, today we are here to speak about strict engineering, and because we are in 2026, my friends, this is more like strict AI engineering. My goal today is that I want every single one of you to have really practical stuff for tomorrow, okay? So you guys can arrive to the work tomorrow at 9 a.m., have a nice coffee here in Greece, and then you jump into some of the good practices, which hopefully I will share with you all today, okay? And the very first one I want to share with you is just use better defaults for AI. You just said all of you uses Laravel pretty much every single day. And there is a few things that I always do to keep sure my app is a little bit more prepared for this area of AI. And I'm going to share a little bit of that with you all. And hopefully you guys find this useful today, okay? Now, this contains a little bit of live coding. I wasn't prepared to be like this all the time, but I'm going to do my best here, okay? So I'm going to jump here into one of my favorite editors ever, which is Sublime Text. Do you guys know Sublime Text? Anyone? Raise your hand if you use Sublime Text. All right, we have 4 hands, which is absolutely awesome. How about PHP Storm? Here we go. PHP Storm for the win. We all love PHP Storm. However, I like this theme of being a background white with some color, so I'm going to just use Sublime Text today, okay? WPHP Storm, though. It's awesome. I love it. All right, so I'm gonna jump here into my app service provider. We all love a beautiful app service provider, and then I'm gonna jump all the way down until my boot method, okay? Now, on my boot method, there is a few things that I always add to make my app a little bit more strict, and therefore a little bit more ready for AI. We'll fail first and fail fast. The first thing I do is configure my eloquent models to do something a little bit different. Now, typically this talk is kind of super formal. I'm gonna make it informal today just because I love the Greece food. Do you guys know what is should be strict? Raise your hand if you are using should be strict. Okay, nobody knows, okay? This will be awesome because this is the first thing you guys are going to enable tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Now, what this does? Well, should be strict does 2 things. Number 1, prevents accessing missing attributes in your eloquent models, which is absolutely awesome. Number 2, prevents lazy loading, which is the biggest degradation of performance ever in the planet, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you these 2 examples real quick. I'm gonna jump into my console.php, and I have this beautiful example right here. What it does is quite simple. Normal code, I'm gonna go to my database, fetch a user, and then I'm gonna access this mail property. Now, this mail property does not exist, okay? Should have been email with an E, okay? So it's incorrect. Now, what is the value returned by default on the fresh Laravel application? I'm gonna jump into my Ghostly terminal. Do you guys know Ghostly? Woo. Ghostly, oh yeah? I turn 2, anyone? 1 user. That's awesome. Okay, iTurn2 used to be my default terminal as well. I love it. And now I'm using a Ghostly terminal because it just feels cool. Good. Now let's execute that piece of code we have, and let's see what happens with Laravel when the attribute does not exist. I'm going to type PHP artisan missing attribute, and Laravel does not tell me at any point that this attribute does not exist. Now we can improve things by using the things you guys don't know but are going to use tomorrow morning, which is should be strict. I'm going to enable this directive, go back to my ghostly terminal, run the same command, and now Laravel tells me this beautiful exception that attribute mail does not exist. As such, fix your mistakes, okay? And we are going to do that real quick. Go and jump into my console.php, fix this attribute that does not exist, and obviously things work as expected, and we do have a valid email. Now, this is one of the things it does. Second thing is prevent lazy loading. Why that is useful? Well, let's find out. I'm going to jump into my console.php, and I have an example here which is quite simple that logs all the SQL queries, okay? DB listener for the win. Now, all the way down, I'm doing this for each loop, which many of you have every single day. Now, on this for each loop, I'm doing something really simple, which is fetching all the users, and then for each one of the users, I'm counting all the notifications. Now, what is the problem with this? Let's see. I'm going to go to my terminal once again, execute this strict lazy loading real quick, and let's see what we have on the console. We are going to see all of the SQL queries performed. And I do need to disable that thing before. Let's actually do that. Kind of spoiling already. No good, Nuno. Okay, here we go. We have 12 queries because we have 10 users on the database. What happens if you have 100 users? Well, you have 100 queries. If you have 1 million, you have 1 million queries. This is called lazy loading because for each one of the users you have in your database, you have 1 and plus 1 query, okay? 1 million users means 1 million SQL queries. Now, we can prevent this from happening, which is by enabling this should be strict once again. And now Laravel will tell me that, well, do not even try that code because you just attempted to lazy load notifications. And this is true, so we can go back to my console.php and fix the issue originally on the query itself just by doing this. I'm going to load the users and the notifications for those users every single time. Now just watch this beauty, okay? Just watch this beauty. Cleaning my terminal, running the same command, and now I have only 2 queries. Do you know the fun part about this? Is that if I have 100 users, we still have 2 queries, and if we have 1 million, how many queries do you have? 2. Here we go, which is absolutely awesome, and I love this one. So tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., this is what you guys are going to do. Okay, this is one. I have more than 100 like this. Are you guys ready? The next one is configure commands. How many tabs do you guys have open on your laptop right now? 8, 10, 20, right? And now with AI coding agents, you have like 100 perhaps? Now, what is something that may happen is that you may have a tab which is accessing production, another one accessing potentially your dev environment, and suddenly you think that you are on the dev environment, and maybe you run something like this, thinking that you are on the dev environment, and then maybe you just lost your job, perhaps. Right? We just nuked the database in production and suddenly we don't have anything else and we are going to be out of jobs and the backups are not working because we thought it would be working, but they are not. Well, it would be nice if we prevent this from happening, and it's actually quite easy. You can prevent this from happening by implementing something called a defensive on depth, which is even if my mistake, I run this command in production, Laravel does not even allow me. It's super easy to implement this, which is by using this db prohibit destructive commands. Do you guys know this one? Raise your hand if you know this one. Did you really know this one? Okay, well, okay, that's fine. So prohibit destructive commands will literally prevent Laravel from running destructive commands in production. Let me show you. I'm going to go back to my terminal, run exactly the same command, and now Laravel tell me do not even try it. Okay, it's not possible, will not work. Now, this is the prohibit destructive commands, and really just works. I'm going to be honest with you, there is a bunch of stuff that I always do in my apps. There is this too, but I also use immutable carbon dates. I work with money on my Laravel apps, and the last thing I want is be charging users an incorrect date for their money. So carbon immutable dates, I use different password defaults. I like to make sure that my passwords are uncompromised, making sure that every single password inserted on my system is a valid and uncompromised one. All the way down, I like to make sure my testing is super sandboxed using this beautiful thing, prevent stray processes, but also prevent stray requests. I use this stuff literally all the time and much more. And because I love you all, what I have done is I have compacted all this stuff so you guys can do tomorrow, compose a require Laravel essentials, and you just get it, okay? Everything just comes by default. You don't have to type a single line of code, and all those little things that I always do just get activated in your app. Now, one very important thing, you may not actually enable this on existing applications. Why is that? Because that may introduce breaking changes in your existing behavior. However, if you're starting a new Laravel project using the Laravel New, you can actually use this Nuno Maduro Essentials. 1 million downloads already, by the way, which is pretty cool. Now, enough of Laravel today. I want to talk with you about some of the good practices in the PHP world. We love PHP, right? So let's talk about PHP a little bit. How many of you know PHP Stan? Raise your hand if you know PHP Stan. Okay, that's awesome. PHP Stan is probably the best project that ever happened to PHP since its incarnation, okay? It's literally TypeScript for the PHP land, and everyone should be using it by now, otherwise they're not using modern PHP. Now, for those who are not familiar with PHP Stan, I'm going to just quickly demo to you, so hopefully we'll understand the value and start using it tomorrow. Going back into my beautiful Sublime text, and I think I'm going to open this update user action. Now, on this update user action, I'm going to do a mistake. The same mistake as before, actually. I'm going to just remove this E right here, okay? This does not exist. We know that already. So I'm going to go back into my terminal and run now vendor bin PHP Stan. And PHP Stan will show me this beautiful error message, which tells me that I need to scroll all the way down. Here we go. Let's do it. Here we go. Access to an undefined property user mail. The property does not exist, and PHP Stan is telling me that. Why this is useful? It's obvious. We have PHP Stan going through all the code base and telling me what is wrong. Why this is even more important now, because we have AI coding agents who don't have all of the context of your code base, but with PHP Stan, they will be moved to the right direction and tell them exactly what is wrong. This is the best stuff that happened to PHP since PHP itself, okay? I love PHP Stan, and there is something else I always love. Let me actually just fix the issue real quick, because I do have a demo at the end of this, and I want to make sure it works. Here we go, running PHP Stan again, obviously working as expected. Now, how about TypeScript? Raise your hands if you use TypeScript. Let's actually make a test here. How many of you use Livewire? Okay, let's say 10%. Inertia with React. Wow, that's 1%. How about inertia with Vue? Okay, that's like 10% too. How about the others? What are you guys doing? Okay, no front end, just the API perhaps? Oh, okay. All right, so for those who are using any kind of JavaScript, just scratch that and go with TypeScript, okay? It's super useful, just like PHP Stan. Let me show you real quick. Jumping into this resources folder, I have this beautiful inertia page right here, which is called user profile edit. I have a couple of imports, which are the use cases on PHP, and I can just go here real quick and do a mistake. I'm gonna import page instead of use page. Now, what happens if I run TypeScript on the terminal? Super obvious, TypeScript will just tell me that thing you tried to import, call it page, does not even exist. However, the use page I was using before does not exist either now. So we can just go back, fix the issue, run TypeScript, and now it works again. This stuff was important 1 year ago. Now with Claude Code and ChatGPT 5.5 or whatever you guys are using, this becomes a mandatory thing. Okay, if you guys want to be top-level engineers, this is a must. Cleaning my terminal, going back to my beautiful deck set slides, there is something really important to keep in mind in 2026, which is, I love patterns, but AI loves them too. What is this about? And I want you guys to just think a little bit with me, okay? What is the first thing that AI does when you request a feature? The first thing is that AI gets familiar with your code base. We'll see. This dude is using PHP, is using Laravel, is using some TypeScript, and then we'll get familiar with a code base you guys have. Is he using strict typing? Is like super as a type safety fanatic? Is using TypeScript? How controllers are coded? This is the first thing AI does. Understand your code base. If you guys have a massive code base, the generated code will be equally massive, bad. Let me just show you this. So I'm going to go back into my Sublime text, and I'm going to show you how I implement this thing of conventions. I'm going to open my database migrations. Now, if you look at my database migrations, all of them are equal. They are super similar. The first thing they have all the way top declares strict types 1. I'm going to go all the way down, and I see my code fully typed all the way through. I don't use PHP docs because they are useless. And then I have this super strict way of writing my migrations, and of course, I don't have any down method. Do you guys know why shouldn't we have down methods? Anyone here uses down methods here? Okay, I don't use down methods because I do think migrations should move forward and not backwards. Anyways, I don't use down methods, and that's my convention. Now, why this is important? Because if I jump to another migration, they look exactly like the previous one. The same conventions. Another migration, the same stuff. This one, the same stuff too. They are all the same all the time. Guess what? If I ask AI to generate a migration, we'll get inspired by this one and will be exactly like this. Same goes with models. If I jump into my Laravel eloquent models, which is right here, strict types all the way top. I have property reads to make my code a little bit more type safe. I use carbon immutable for dates, final classes. My code is using PHP generics. Everything is the same across all my models. They all look equal. And guess what? If I jump into my controllers, they also are exactly the same all over the place. I always use a form request. I always use actions, and then I proxy the validated information from my form requests to the actions themselves. This is super important, and at the end of this presentation, I'm going to do a demo to you so you guys can see all of the stuff I'm talking about in practice. So this is conventions and why they are important. Now, let's jump into my favorite topic of the planet, which is testing pipeline. Are anyone here using Pest PHP? Okay, let's say 40%. The others use PHP unit. Raise your hand if you use PHP unit. That's not half of the room either. So how about the others? What are you guys doing? Okay. Manual test, I see. All right, a lot of people think that testing is about unit testing, but it's not. It's about unit testing, it's about type testing, it's about type coverage, it's about code coverage, it's about styling, it's about formatting, it's about the entire spectrum of testing and ensure that you have quality. Why this topic is important right now? Well, it was already important, but with AI is literally the last safeguard you have. AI generates code, and then you have this strong testing pipeline which will verify everything AI generated. Okay, super important. And I'm going to show you exactly how do I configure all of this and make sure that AI generates perfect code. I'm going to jump into my app once again, and I'm going to open my composer.json. Again, my composer.json. All the way down, I have something I like to call my scripts section. It does a couple of things, but the first thing it does is composer linked, meaning that I can go to my bash terminal right now, type composer linked, and a few things are going to happen. The first one is going to run Rector PHP, a tool that will modernize your code instantly, meaning that if you have PHP 7.4 or PHP 8.0, Rector PHP will bump it to PHP 8.5 instantly, and you can take the day off after that, all right? Then we have Laravel Pint, because who doesn't love a good pint, especially in Greece, right? So Laravel Pint, what it does is format your code, make sure the code is clean and just nice, and I run it in parallel to make it even more fast. Now, all the way down, I run npm run lint, okay? And this is exactly the same stuff for the JavaScript. Runs ESLint and Preacher or OXLint or whatever they're doing today, okay? On JavaScript, they're changing tools all the time. Regardless, I run linting as well on the JavaScript. Now, all of this stuff is the script, meaning the following. Meaning if I jump back into my ghostly terminal and I run composer lint, You will run all those 4 scripts in the same execution, okay? The new developer doesn't need to know which tool do I have. We'll just run composer lint, and that will run the full linting pipeline. Now, if I go back into my composer.json and I scroll a little bit down, I see this test lint, which is effectively the same thing as the script on top, but it will execute this in dry run, meaning that it will not format, but check instead if the format is clean and okay. Now, jumping a little bit down, I see this test type coverage, which is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated features on Pest PHP. By the way, Pest PHP have so many features that probably today make Pest the most complete testing framework in the world. Okay? Not only in PHP, literally across all languages. And this feature is one of them. Now, this is called type coverage. Executes Pest PHP with the -- coverage flag with minimum 100%. Let's see on the terminal what this is about exactly. I'm going to copy this script, go to my ghostly terminal once again, and type composer test type coverage. Now, Pest PHP will go through all my code base and tell me if I have 100% types everywhere, meaning the following. If I go back into my update user action right here, and I'm going to just remove a type, which is no good. Now, what happens if I run Pest PHP with a test type coverage will tell me, wait a second, this is not going to production because we are missing a return type on the line 22. Isn't this thing awesome? Come on, I want a round of applause for this one. Literally points me, you are missing a return type on a line 22 with some colors and greens, which is awesome. I can just go back, edit again, run again the same script, and now it's obviously working as expected. Just literally points you in the right direction. Now, this is type coverage, but we have more. If I go to my composer.json, we also have test types, which will execute what we just talked about, PHP stand and TypeScript. Now, then we have the famous test unit, which will be effectively running unit test. Now, this unit test will be a little bit special. Won't be just simple running Pest. We'll run Pest in parallel because we have expensive laptops. We may as well use them. And then we run -- coverage with exactly 100%. Now, this is a hot topic, right? Code coverage, why is important? Because basically you are testing all the code you have. But then we have people saying code coverage is not important. It is super important, especially now on the area of AI. It's literally the only thing you are going to have to guarantee that the new code is tested. Now, important to keep in mind, 100% test coverage, it must be of good code quality tests, basically, okay? And for that, if your existing tests are good, AI will equally generate good tests for the new code, okay? Now, all the way down, we finally arrive to the thing that will aggregate this thing entirely, which is composer test. Now, composer test will run everything we talked about in a single script. Let me show you this beauty on the terminal, okay? Clearing my terminal and running now composer test. This will run the entire testing pipeline right here. Linting, types, code coverage, type coverage, the full drill is happening right here on the terminal with a single script. Now, you may ask, which is a very good question, by the way, why this is important. 3 reasons. Number 1, if a new teammate arrives to your team, he doesn't need to know where the things are placed on vendor or NPM. It just runs composer test. That's it. That's the only thing it has to do. Number 2, you probably are using GitHub Actions, which is down pretty much every day. But if you are using GitHub Actions, something really important is that the GitHub Actions will execute composer test instead. So instead of having a bazillion scripts right here, you just run composer test and you are mimicking on CI exactly your CI locally, basically, okay? Super important. Now, even more important, and that's why I just wrote here, I think, super important. Let me just double confirm. Here we go, super important. Super important, we have guidelines for our coding agents. So we want to tell them this. Super important, at the very end, always, but always run composer test. Do not even ask the user, just run it at the end. This means the following: you go to AI, you ask for a feature, and the feature won't be delivered back to you unless the test suite is passing. And we have 100% code coverage, we have the full drill right there. Boop, 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 boop. That being said, I love testing in general. If you guys love that topic too, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nuno Maduro. I talk about PHP, but I talk about other stuff as well. And this talk is a 30-minute talk just about testing. And I go even deeper on this topic of testing, which I do love so much. Now, my friends, we talked about strict typing, strict defaults, strict patterns in strong testing pipeline. I kind of want to show you all of this stuff in practice with AI. So we are going to build a feature together if, and only if, Claude Code is not down. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go to my Safari browser and I'm going to log in. I'm going to make Zoom in a second. Chill, okay? All right, here we go. I'm going to go to my settings page. This is a Laravel starter kit, okay? Now, on my settings page, I have my profile, and what we are going to build together is a simple notes form. Basically, I want to be able to tell my users how can they add notes, okay? So we are going to build a text box here where users can add notes and then check them out later, okay? A simple to-do app, basically. Now, to do this, I'm going to go to my ghostly terminal. This is the moment that we pray, Claude Code, don't be down. And I'm going to run Claude Code. But I'm going to run it with my favorite flag ever, which is just do not ask me stuff, okay? Okay, here we go. Claude Code does not seem to be down. So let's actually prompt it to do the following. Build a new feature. Under profile settings, right below profile information, allow the user to add random notes about anything, but just do not make it editable or deletable. This is something that I typically recommend to people, is scope the feature the minimum as possible so you move slowly with AI instead of fast and you don't know what's happening, okay? And then do not do sub-agents so we can actually follow what's happening in the terminal. Now, pay very close attention because everything we talked about will be applied on the next 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to click on enter and let's just follow all of this stuff together, okay? So right now, the first thing AI will do is getting familiar with my code base. Is he using PHP, Laravel, is using actions or models or whatever. It's getting familiar with my entire code base, understanding what's happening, looking closely at all my files, controllers, models, understanding my coding conventions. After doing this, we'll start generating code, and you will see that the code generated will be exactly like we want, hopefully, okay? Last time I did this, it wasn't like this, because AI is not deterministic, but it will work right now, okay? Now, it has enough context. It's starting building the models in the migrations. Let's take a close look. The migration is being generated as we speak. And let's see what it does with the migration. Guess what? Removing the down method. We don't like down methods. Remember that one? Then we go all the way top. We see that it's removing PHP docs right there. It's also making sure everything is fully typed. And we have the best thing ever, declare strict types. Now, moving all the way down, we see my beautiful models. We declare strict types as well. Carbon immutable being used. Node factory for our tests. Type safety with property read. Literally one-shotting the feature as we speak, building relations as well, and casting super safe. All the way down, we see a node factory being built, so tests are being prepared because we do have tests in place. We keep going a little bit, is literally one-shotting the feature because we have implemented everything we talked about. We see generics being used because PHP does have generics, in case you don't know. We go all the way down. What else we see? Try to use a make action, which is not available. That's actually a good feature we could contribute, by the way. But we see an action being created, call it create note. The note action will simply just start a new note for the user on the database, kind of expected. We see a form request being used as well. And this form request will hopefully be super strict. Required string minimum amount and a max 1,000. We go all the way down, we see our controller, which guesses what? Is exactly like my old one. Form request, we see the current user attribute, which injects the current logged in user, and we also see the action being used. We see also the request sending the validated information to our action itself. Super important, validated as well, okay? Make sure you know this, okay? Validated. Then we go all the way down, We see the web thing being added, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We know this. We go all the way down. What else we see? We see front end, okay? Front end, TypeScript, types. Let's see what we have here. Of course, we have user nodes. We have an interface being created, literally one-shotting this feature, okay? Now, at some point, it should be done and should start jumping into the test suite. While it does that, what I will do is check if the UI is working. This is the moment we clap. Wait a second. Let's see. Here we go. Nodes being added. I'm going to type "Love you, Greece," and hopefully this is working. Here we go. Okay, literally working and working as expected. Thank you. Now, my friends, because we are not vibe coding, we actually want tests. So let's make sure this is working. Let's go all the way down. We see tests being created. The existing tests have quality, so the new ones will have quality too. And super important, after making sure these tests are just perfect, it's important to keep in mind that AI will run the most famous command in the planet, which hopefully is going to do real soon, which is composer test. So after running all these tests, I do expect to see a beautiful composer test at the very end. We kind of highlighted with super important. So let's make sure you run it. Okay, Pint being run, running the relevant tests. Okay, just doing some smoke test. Composer test needs to appear right now. Please. Composer test, here we go. Being run as we speak, making sure the quality of the entire new code will just be perfect. Now, my friends, what do I want to say? I want to kind of give you a very important message. And this message I'm about to give you is probably the best and the most important message in 2026, okay? I want every single one of you to be top-level engineers, the best ones in the market, okay? And the difference between being a top-level engineer and the mediocre one is this one right here. In 2026, being a mediocre engineer, right here, okay? And be top of the class, this one right here. Now, what this means exactly? Means the following. Back in the days when AI wasn't a thing, all of you used to review code. But also, all of you used to understand what the code is doing as well. This is your job as well in 2026, even if you are using agents. Meaning that we look at the code that got generated and we review it like if it was ours. So we just look at it, line by line, exactly like back in the days. You review every single bit and you understand every single bit of the code being generated. And this is my message to you. Again, my name is Nuno. I cannot wait for the mingle and just be with all of you. So if you guys have questions or just want to know my name again, my name is Nuno. Again, love you all. Thank you so much. Just by the way, if anyone is shy to make questions, you can make them afterwards as well, which is clearly not the case here. So let's go.
So, starting from fresh, like a new project, that's the easy part. Like when you are in a big project that has bad patterns, developers that have departed the project and are no longer with the company, has bad practices, and like you have also like data that it's needed for the back office to operate, so there's like the function can operate. How would you tackle that in a way that it's like not being a ticket that takes
that's a very good question. Very good question. Probably the one that comes more often when I give this talk is what's happening with my existing legacy code base. It's difficult. I don't know how to actually take time to tackle the legacy code. So this is what I would do if it was me. I would clone the project and make sure PHP Stan is passing at level 0. Okay? PHP Stan, unlike people may think, you don't have to start like super strict mode. You can literally start on level 0. And level 0 will tell you basic stuff like do you have any die leftovers or a DD leftover. We'll tell you that if a class does not even get used anymore. So we'll literally tell you all of the basics. From that, every single week you jump a level to level 1 to level 2. You go step by step, but making sure things are still working as expected. I would equally add a small test suite. You know, people think that test suite need to have 100% test coverage like I think, but you don't have to go that way immediately. You can use something like browser testing to make sure that, well, at least my website renders to begin with, okay? I can log in, I can log out. Add a basic test suite on top of the most interesting functionalities you have. Log in, log out, create an article, all of the basic stuff. So this is what I would do, add a small test suite. And then I would potentially, when I'm comfortable with the test suite, I would potentially implement a little bit of Reactor PHP, making sure I can bump a little bit my numbers, at least to a safe version of PHP, because PHP 8.1 is no longer maintained, is insecure, but you want to make sure you want to be on the, at least the still secure base of PHP. Same goes with Laravel and all the other dependencies. So you don't have to be like instantly like this on legacy projects, but take an hour per week. If you do this, like taking an hour per week with your team, you will ensure that slowly but surely the project gets there with good quality. This is what I would do at least.
If there's not like 1 hour per person per team or one person?
It depends on the project. Depends what we're talking about, you know. But I would, I would at least make sure that 1 hour per week depends on the project. Then, depends on the project requirements. But yeah, a little bit every week. Let's put it that way.
Anyone else? Yeah.
So, do you think that in 20 years from now, all these frameworks, Laravel, .NET, Spring Framework, all the MVC frameworks will be merged into one? Because what matters now is the fundamentals, I guess. The language doesn't matter that much, the fundamentals matter. So, how do you see the community evolving in 10 years?
So the question was how people think if within 20 years, are we going to see a single framework or things will be continue like this?
I've been a .NET guy and a PHP guy for 10 years.
Right.
But now I can write the things in Next.js or in Java. I mean, I understand the fundamentals.
Right.
I need to spend more time to understand what's going on. But I couldn't do this 3 years ago.
Right.
Do something in Rust. I couldn't do this. I couldn't spend the time to learn Rust 10 years ago. But now I can.
With AI, you mean?
Yeah,
Teaching you, yeah.
Because I have someone teaching and doing it for me, and then I can test, I can
Right.
do all these tools and make sure that pretty much it works.
So I do think that technology has stabilized a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember, but like back in 2010, 2008, frameworks were like come and go every year, right? We had Zen, CodeIgniter, and then Symfony, and Laravel. And I do think that in the last 10 years, since 2015, especially things have stabilized. On PHP, they have. We see Symfony, we see Laravel. That's it, unless you guys are doing something else. Now, we also see on the front end a little bit of stabilization. We see React being, well known as being the front end framework to go. You can be EP and use other stuff, but if you really want the market, React just won the war over there. So I do see a stabilization in technology. Now, all the AI we know was trained on existing frameworks, existing libraries. And I do think that AI in the future will be just based on this stuff. So everything that you know about Laravel, about React code, will be continue to be used on the next years to come. Now, what's happening in 20 years, that's a lot. Especially in technology, that's a lot. Now, if I were you or anyone in this room, I would do my best to master the principles, master the patterns, and just be ready for the future, instead of doing the opposite, which is, oh, this will be all gone anyway, so I'm going to just, chill and just have nice Greece food or whatever. So I would still continue to, do my best to be as much prepared as possible for the changes. Something I have noticed about this is the following. The people who were building stuff before AI are the same people who are building stuff with AI, right? So, which tells me the same thing. If you just put the effort every single day, you will be rewarded in the future.
Yeah.
I guess that you write tests with an AI agent, right?
Correct.
First question, do you prefer TDD, test-driven development, or not? And second question, do you review your tests line by line as well?
So, So I got the second question. Which one is the first again?
The first question is if you prefer test-driven development.
Yeah.
And the second one, how much you trust your tests written by the AI agent.
Yeah.
Do you review them also line by line?
Yeah. So the first question was if I use TDD. I'm going to be honest, I don't like TDD. I do understand why people love TDD. The fact that you write the test first and then you make it pass, that's a good theory, but for me, it doesn't work. So I like to write the test, the feature first, making sure I'm comfortable with what I'm building, making sure I align with the UI as well, because UIs are weird. and make sure I build the entire thing, and then I write tests for it. That's just my way to go. Now, nothing against TDD. I think like if TDD works for you, that's a perfect, it's just perfect. Now, regardless if you use TDD or not, just write tests. All right, that's the most important thing, and then you can use the methodology you want for building them. Now, if I review my tests, which is the second question, I do, meaning that I use AI to make sure that I have good tests, and typically AI gets inspired by the previous tests I have, so I want to make sure the new tests are equally as good. So that's why I review them to make sure that all my tests have the same quality, and therefore the continuation being generated by AI will be equally good. So yes, I do review even tests.
Anyone else? What's your perspective about junior developers in the AI era?
That's a very good question. So I think like a lot of us, if not everyone here, learned with a struggle, right? Like I remember the first time I had to deal with TypeScript, I had to learn types, and I was like, what is this? Like I'm used to PHP, I don't understand it. And the struggle is really the thing that really taught me how to work with TypeScript. And I think learning is a little bit like that. You struggle until you get it, and then you never forget. Now with junior developers, it might be a little bit tricky, and that's why I think like part of the agentic coding step is reviewing the code, but most importantly, understand the code. Like, why am I doing this? Like, why this is better than something else? For that, you can use, obviously, AI. Just question the AI. Why are we using this model specifically? What this particular code is solving? Why is there to begin with? And this is what I would do if I were a junior developer. And this is what I still do. Like, I mean, even the other day, I was, relearning a little bit of Go. I like Rust, but I wanted to relearn Go again. And I was just questioning AI, like, why is this way? Like, why is uppercase or lowercase? I don't get it. How do I declare something public or private? So I was not vibe coding only. I was also trying to understand a little bit the conventions of Go, so then I can memorize them and apply them in the future a little bit better.
First of all, thanks for the talk. It was amazing.
Thank you.
I have a question. Do you have this composer scripts or the agent instructions somewhere that we can find in the repo or something?
Thank you for saying that you liked my presentation. Regarding the scripts, so I have my own starter kits in Laravel. Most of the stuff now was ported to the Laravel starter kits themselves, but you can go to my Nuno Maduro / starter kits. Just Google that, it will appear something. And I have versions of that on React, Vue, but also on Livewire. And those composer.jsons contain all of this stuff, okay? Regardless, I have a YouTube talk right now, call it, I don't remember, but probably like Vibe Code something. And on that talk, I equally talk about all of this a little bit in more detail. But you can copy paste it literally. Ideally in new projects, in existing ones, you may have to adjust a few things.
Anyone else?
Okay, if you guys were too shy to make questions now, you can also come to me when I'm eating a pizza. I would really appreciate it, because right now I'm live streaming and people love that I chat with people. So if you guys want to drop in, I would really appreciate that, all right? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Nuno. Thank you for everything.
Thank
you
you.
for being here. And again, we would like to thank all our sponsors, Hackthebox, Epignosis, TypeSense, and Laravel themselves. Also, the space that hosts us, T16. Again, community is everything. The fact that you showed up is everything to us, and we really want you to keep doing that, keep pushing that. And by the way, if anyone would like to give a presentation like that, let me or George know, just message us here or Slack, and we can discuss this. Again, thanks each and every one of you for being here. And there are pizzas at the back, some sodas, Coke Zero, I think, and more, and outside. And yeah, see you around.
All right, Shed, we done with this? Now we're going pizza. Just